Hey guys, it's Helen Hartsmith here again with
Cathy.
Ooh, you okay, we're enjoying a little brekkie before we take off. And we are so diligent that we are recording a podcast before we leave for convocation. Why? Because we love you guys.
Right.
So welcome to episode 603. We have a little something special planned for the podcast today.
As soon as I swallow the donut.
As soon as you swallow, yeah. But before we get into the content, we always have business. So it's time for the Correspondence of the Week. So, we oftentimes take inspiration for the correspondence of the week by what's going on around us.
Right.
We'll look around and say, I'm liking this piece of licorice right now. Let's have licorice as a correspondence.
Have we had licorice?
No, we haven't, because to be honest, I loathe licorice and I would not be eating it.
Me too.
But I mean, those are
But
the
you know
kinds
what?
of things-
We like vanilla.
We do like vanilla.
We like vanilla.
So vanilla is our correspondence. Cathy, tell the peeps how we arrived at the correspondence.
So I have a candle on my stove that is a vanilla candle.
Yeah, and so we were looking around and I was like, okay, we've done coffee.
We've done chocolate.
We've done chocolate. We were having some bagels with cream cheese that didn't, stir anything in the loins kind of thing. So I'm looking around and I'm like, what scent's your candle? So Cathy, what do we use vanilla for?
I don't know because it
went away.
Yeah. Vanilla is feminine.
Mm.
It is, Venus is the planet. The element is water. Mm-hmm. And the magical abilities, Helen actually guessed it.
Love.
Lust and mental ability.
Yes.
So all good things.
That totally makes sense to me because, I mean, when you look at food magic and stuff like that, you make a lot of people might do an apple pie for a love spell and stuff like that. And vanilla is a part of a lot of baking. And the way to your the person's heart is through their stomach. Right. So that makes sense. Now, have you ever made your own vanilla?
I have the stuff to make my own vanilla, but have not done it yet.
I've made it, but I don't bake that often, so I actually haven't used it. My aunt has a cookie party every Christmas time, and it just so happens that the recipe that I made did not call for vanilla because I was all set. I was like, I'm going to use that vanilla. We made it and it's ready to go. And then I didn't need it. I'm like, well, that was a big old letdown. Right? But yeah. So anyhow, vanilla.
Love, lust, magical or mental ability. Also, it's good to use vanilla because it makes you think about love instead of just following your loins.
Following your loins.
Right.
Are you trying to be like good today and not cuss and stuff?
Somebody used the word loins earlier. So
I did.
Okay, so that was our
Correspondence of the Week. So now let's talk about what we're going to talk about in this episode. We love a good questionnaire.
We do.
Well, first of all, it gives us a great topic to talk about.
And it gives us things to talk about that we wouldn't normally talk about.
Exactly. So I actually, this week, I posted a blog. My blog posting was about some recent YouTubers that I have located. And so that's how I came across this little 15 questionnaire. Was Annie over at the Green Witch channel. She did the tag. And so I was like, that's perfect. It's a new one. We haven't done it. I saved the questions and what have you.
So this is probably going to be a two-parter because we talk a lot.
Right. So let's just prepare for that.
Yeah.
Whatever. We know that. So this is the Get to Know Your Witches tag. And this was a tag that was started by Little Cosmic Crow over on her YouTube channel. excuse me. So I will put a link to Little Cosmic Crow's channel. I haven't watched too many of her videos, but, and I will definitely put a link to my blog post so you can check out Annie's channel from there if you're interested. All right, so let's get started.
What is the first question?
The first question is, does your sun sign, your zodiac sign, portray you correctly? If not, do your other planetary signs?
Well, right off the top, I don't know my other planetary signs. I'd have to look.
I'm like chock full of Aries. I'm like Aries with Aries rising and...
Are you?
Yeah. So I guess let me start by saying I am so Aries. I am so all of my signs. And I think you and I did a podcast it was a top 10 about zodiac signs.
Yeah.
And so I might have talked about this before, but in the Chinese zodiac, I'm a rat. I am so a rat. In the Native American, I'm like a falcon or something like that. And I'm very much that. In the Celtic tree, I'm an alder, ALDER. And I'm so every single sun sign, or, every sign there is, it's me. And it's kind of weird, I think, because the roomie, whose birthday is 6 days after mine, she exhibits some Aries traits, but she's more towards the cusp, where I'm like kind of right in the middle.
She was born a different year too, so
different
things will come on the rising and all
yeah,
that,
for sure. So and even Lee, she and the roomie share a birthday. We have similar traits in our personalities, but we're like really different. Now, I have another friend of ours, Brian, who is an April birthday, but I think he might be a Taurus. Because that's what's after, right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, because that's what Crystal is.
Okay.
And so shout out to Crystal because she likes it when we say her name. Brian and I have a lot more traits. Like, we are very similar, more so than Carrie and I are. So, yeah. So what about you?
So I'm the only Virgo in the coven. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really a good thing. Because
you're territorial?
Well, I mean, only one of us can be right. Right. And if there were two of us that were sure we were right all the time, that would be a bad thing.
I mean, we do have other folks in the coven that are different signs that can be as assertive.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, you're the only Virgo.
I'm very detail oriented and meticulous on some things. I mean, I'm a fucking accountant, for God's sake.
Right.
I mean, I'm not an accountant, but I do accounting. Anyway, okay, I'm an auditor. So I make sure you did this wrong. You did this wrong.
It's the perfect job for you.
Yeah, although, I audit railroad invoices and the railroads suck. So anyway, yeah, they do. But anyway, so yeah, I would say that I am definitely a Virgo, and I think I'm smack dab in the middle of it.
I think you are.
Close.
Yeah.
Close to the middle of it. So yeah, I'm a definite Virgo.
And what's interesting too is my brother's a Virgo, and he exhibits Virgo tendencies in some things, but not in others.
And he was born a little later.
Yeah, his birthday's 5 days after
later,
yours,
yeah.
and of course he's many years younger than you are.
I'm 39.
And holding.
Yeah, for a couple of years now. Like 11.
Yeah.
12.
So we're both our sun signs for sure. Number 2, what songs bring you the most magical vibes?
There is a song by Incubus Succubus called Storm that is amazing and always puts me in a magical mindset. I think it's called Storm. I'm pretty sure.
I'm the one that like went and got this and stuff, and I've been thinking music plays such a huge part in my life. Like, I love music. But this question has been really kind of difficult for me to pinpoint some. I think one song that comes to mind, like right away, is Rhiannon by Fleetwood Mac.
That's kind of a gimme.
Right. Anything Stevie Nicks puts me in a magical mindset. I like just kind of zone out when I listen to her. I love her voice. I feel so grateful that I got to see her in concert. You know,
She's good.
She's really good. But I also lately, I've really been enjoying on YouTube. You can do like a search for ambient music, and they will have videos that are 2 and 3 hours of just like a background music and it's like themed. So it might be like a Celtic theme. It might be a Nordic theme. It might be, I've even seen some stuff that's like Harry Potter themed and Lord of the Rings themed and stuff like that. And so it's just background music. And I find that it helps me to focus if I have something in the background that's playing.
Right.
So those types of things. And I've really gotten into some bands like Wardruna, I think is how they're pronounced, how their name is pronounced. Some more Nordic heathen type music.
See, I don't listen to a whole lot of music at all. I listen to mostly podcasts. So I don't have a wide variety, but I know Incubus Succubus has a lot of magical music.
Yeah. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. Yeah. Yeah. So,
okay.
All right. Number 3. Which one of your deities, guides, ancestors is most sarcastic with you?
God.
If this doesn't apply to you, which of your tarot or oracle decks is?
You know, Bast is a sarcastic shit. She's a cat. I mean, really. Mm-hmm. She tells you like it is with no holds barred. And really,
yeah,
I don't want you to do this. I want you to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had some interactions with different spirit guides, and some of them have been like snarky, but what really comes to mind when I think of this question is Odin Father. Mm-hmm. And he really does not appreciate your cat.
Which one? Because I have none.
Right. I remember like one of my first interactions with him, it was very much her with her cat. So Odin Father is very much, and Thor too. I did a little bit of work in the past with Thor, and he can be pretty sarcastic when he wants to. He's very, very harsh if need be, but in a way that is helpful to you. So I mean, yeah, there might be sarcasm, but it's not without a purpose, basically.
Right.
So, hello, Magnus. Thank you for joining. Would you like to say anything? Are you going to be sarcastic?
He doesn't usually say anything until it's time to eat, and then he won't fucking shut up. Or in the middle of the night when he's laying on my chest and wants me to pet him.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Question number 4. Biggest witchy mess or misinterpretation?
I know you have a story about a witchy mess. Stop licking my hot chocolate lid. I don't know that I've ever had a spell go awry.
I know that I've talked about my witchy mess. It wasn't like a super mess, but it definitely was not what I anticipated.
Right.
When I'm going to paraphrase because I don't know if
just paraphrase.
Yeah. So, I did a love spell when I was a baby witch, and I didn't set my intention very well. And I was approached by someone that was not part of like what my intent had been.
Right.
And so that got me thinking quite a bit about, about intention and spell work and knowing.
And how you have to be certain specific.
Right.
I think the closest thing I come to that is when we were baby witches, it was, let's do a spell. Let's do a spell, without really understanding maybe the physics and the science of magic and the responsibility behind it.
Right. And that's one thing that that I appreciated about like the temple teaching is that Christopher doesn't do any spell working much really until your second year. Mm-hmm. He's like laying a good foundation with your first year before you get into spellcraft in general. And I appreciate that. We did have another mess sort of that we needed to deal with. I don't know if you recall this or not, but when we were baby witches, we had started another coven. Mm-hmm. And that coven, without getting into a huge amount of detail again, it imploded. Right. And there were a lot of hurt feelings and stuff like that. And even our friendship took a hit. Right. Now, that wasn't necessarily magic. Right. But magic was a part of all of those relationships, along with other things.
And that part of that was not really understanding what it meant to be in a coven and what the purpose should be and all of that stuff.
Right. And so it took us, I think it really took us a lot of time to bounce back from that. It did. And we ended up doing, so we actually like took a break from magic. Mm-hmm. And like each other even at that time. And then we came back together and you and I did. Mm-hmm. And we ended up founding the Mystics of Realure and stuff like that. But we ended up doing, it was just a couple of years ago, we did like a really big final purge.
Oh, yeah.
Of that person's energy.
That was actually, it was closer to 4 years ago.
Oh, was it?
It was maybe 5 years ago. Because it was when I got my job in Okemos.
Okay.
And I was driving by her house every day.
Right.
And it was really bothering me because there was some lingering
There was
stuff.
like residual, yeah. And so we did like a final purge of any lingering negative.
Any cords, any reminders.
Right. We had cords that were part of that coven and we burned them.
Yep.
We used an entire large sage smudge stick.
That baby burned
hard, fast, and the whole thing.
Yep.
So that was something that really needed to happen. And so I guess like the lesson to take out of that is, don't be afraid to do that kind of a purge.
Right.
And maybe don't wait as long as we did.
Yeah, I think it would have been helpful if we had done that faster.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, any other mess ups
Nope.
that you can think of? Okay. Onward to question number 5. Would you write a book on your craft spirituality? Why? If you already have, what were your challenges in doing so?
Well, I haven't. And I've actually been thinking about this the last few months, but I'm not sure what I could write that's not already out there. I've been reading, you let me borrow a book. I can't remember the name
The
of it.
Witch's Journey.
Yeah. So I was thinking about something along those lines, but I don't know if it would necessarily be magical because there's a lot of stuff that I would prefer to cover that has nothing to do with, well, I guess maybe it does because it's part of my journey.
Well, it's part of your journey. So yeah. Yeah, I actually have an idea for a book, and I don't think it's out there. And I don't necessarily want to talk about it just yet.
Right.
But it's really, I mean, if you know me, it's about like my life and what my interests are magically. So yeah, it's something that I've had the idea. And so now I'm like plotting things out and stuff. I haven't actually done hardcore writing, but I'm trying to get my ducks in a row.
Right.
So, and sometimes that's hard, you know, and part of the, I think we could say that part of the difficulties with writing a book, like you said, you want to write about something that's not out there.
Right.
You don't, you know, we don't need to read or write another Wicca 101 book.
Right.
You know, there's plenty of candle magic books out there. There's plenty of
spell work and correspondence and gardening and stones.
Right.
Yeah, it's all out there.
And we have, you know, and while we have interests, some separate, some together in those kinds of topics, you know, I don't think that we would necessarily add anything, to the, you know, by writing a book on any of those subjects. Yeah. So they've been covered very well, kind of a thing.
I would be more interested in doing a fiction book.
And you have something started.
I have lost motivation on that. I've lost my.
I know.
Views. I mean, it was good. So it was a 5-part book, a sci-fi fantasy based on another world that magic is very prevalent, although persecuted, and each book was based on an element.
Mm-hmm. And it was a great idea. I enjoyed the bits and pieces that you did put together. And I guess we should say that in, you know, speaking of fiction, we have written a lot of fiction.
Oh God, yes.
So I'm pretty sure that I've mentioned that we game.
Right.
We, not as much as we used to, but you maintain a website for all of our gaming stuff, including fiction. And you've also put fiction on
Archive of Our Own.
Right. Yeah. So we can get me a link for like your page at Archive, because you actually posted there all of the fiction. So the stuff that you wrote and the stuff that I wrote.
And there's stuff on Archive of Our Own that is not on the website because it's a little risque.
Oh, right. Yeah, because you didn't want to put the real sexy stuff on the...
Yeah. Archive of Our Own, everything goes.
Right. So you know, we've written a lot of fiction. And I think for us, our fiction, at least the stuff that's based on gaming, it's easy because the story was the story as we played it.
Yeah.
So there wasn't too much of a the biggest difficulty was if you were the storyteller putting that together, kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, I think having been a writer for a large part of my life in some capacity or another, the biggest challenge in something like that is to be inspired by what you're writing.
Right.
And that can be the hardest bit. But, you know.
Yeah, and like the fiction that I started, I lost motivation on it. I lost my muse, and I would love to pick it up and finish it, but I just don't know where to go from here. So, I mean, I had it all planned out, but and you know, I work. And that's hard to find time to do things like that when you work. And we have the coven, and we've got the cabin, and you know.
Yeah, sometimes life is busy.
Yeah.
So you can't do everything you want to do until you win the lottery.
I just sent you the link.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay. So I'll have that link to put
we
in
can
there.
do one more quick question, and then we have to leave.
Right. So, yeah. So question number 6 is, if someone wanted to summon you to their circle,
oh my God,
what 5 items would they need?
Oh, God. I knew this was on here, and I didn't even think about it. So chocolate.
Yes.
Yep. My husband.
Yep.
Yep. God, what other 3 items? Well, my iPad. I can't live without that.
Yeah.
What other stuff?
You know, I had one the other day for myself, and I can't think of it now. What?
Yeah. I mean, cats. Cats would do it. Crafty stuff to keep me interested in doing things.
Like witchy, crafty, or crafts?
Yes.
Okay.
Either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that 5?
Yeah, so that's chocolate, my husband, cats, my iPad, and crafty stuff.
Coffee?
I don't do coffee.
I'm thinking for me.
Yeah, I know.
Coffee.
I don't know, Helen's.
I'm trying to think like
coffee. Come on, what is it?
My books, like, you know, like a good book would, you know.
Well, that was kind of included in my iPad.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like, you know, what would definitely draw me? A good cup of coffee would draw me. A book. Someone that I look up to that I could do a podcast with.
You know what I forgot that was going to be on my list? Christian Kane.
Oh yeah, Christian Kane. Maybe he's who I was thinking about.
Jensen Ackles.
Or Kevin Richardson. Or Gong Yu. Or Lee Dong-uk. Or yeah. So, a hot boy or a hot girl would be awesome. I don't even know how many that is. I think my laptop that I could like write.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That would draw me. Yeah. I think
we covered it.
I think that's it.
All right.
And that is it for this episode. So if you want to find out what Cathy and I talk about for the second half of this questionnaire, be sure to tune into episode 604, which will be posted in a couple of weeks. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, we ask that you subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of fun stuff going on here. And also check the description box for all kinds of links, both for our social medias and for the things that we discussed in this podcast. If you have done if you've done your own version of answering these questions, then we would love to hear about that. So let us know where you've posted it in the comments, and we'd love to check it out because we all need to get to know our witches, right? So thank you so much for tuning in, and thanks for walking the path for a little while with us. Until next time, blessed be.